So talk real quick about some issues you might have when trying to apply GD&T to the model. Some common problems that we've experienced recently too.
So with 3DCS, we also suggest that you use thick parts. We do create edges. We do okay with edges, or I'm sorry, 3DCS does. But it would be suggested to have a part or a model to have an extruded feature or a hole. So for this case, this is just the shell of the outer body, outer panel. And to elaborate, to say that we want you to work with that, I did go through this model, this part, and extruded our holes. But most of these holes were elongated, so I did have to redefine the holes, redesign. So some of these holes, this hole here was an elongated feature. I did have to recreate them all. Additionally, and I said this before, was when you're defining your view planes, you might have to go ahead and start creating your wireframe, your points, lines, features, any way you can get a good plane to come out. You can always start with just using the XYZ plane as a great starting point and start creating your plane within there. Or if you need to, you can start using the generative shape design and start defining a plane wherever you would like to see it, or if your tolerance is backward, upside down. That was a couple of the things that running through this, I had to go ahead and, fix. So one of the things that you've seen already is that some of these came in backwards, upside down, because it created its own view frame. So I was guessing that I wanted it to create it this way. Some other things, when you're coming from like another CAD system as a step file, they might not come in as a generated surface. It might be called a NURB, or it might be called, the surface won't be an actual surface. It'll be just CGR. You won't be able to create any GD&T or FTA on CGR. It requires an actual geometry created in CATIA. Trying to think what else we ran into. So yeah, I mean, those are basically the basic things that you would want. When I say that 3DCS doesn't work with edges very well, we want users to have actual CAD features other than edges. Edges can maybe defined in the wrong direction, or they might be defined in a parallel direction where you want it perpendicular. Say, for example, this slot. 3DCS will define an edge here, but it won't be normal to that surface. It'll be along that edge. So your direction, your variation that you're going to get from here is not the way that you're going to want it. So when we define that or the surface, you're going to get the direction to deviate in along this slot. Creating points for data targets. You've already seen it. I created just basically really easy ones. You can also define your own datum points if you wanted to. So as long as you're creating a point on this plane or any of the planes or any of the features that you're going to be using, you'd want it to be on that surface. Actually, I want to change that to plane. Oh. So yeah, I want it to go ahead and just be created on here. It's going to be, since this is all one feature or one part, one surface, it's going to be relation to this square. So afterwards, I can go back and create my datums again, pick in this point, and then 3DCS will be able to extract it or create its own point for it. You can also, if need be, create GD&T in the assembly level to define assembly GD&T. I know in V6 too, 3D Experience, I'm sorry, 3D Experience to correct me. 3D Experience in 2018X, everything's going to be semantic. It's still going to have the tolerance advisor, it's still going to have the traditional way, but you won't have to play around with all the settings that I just showed you. Whether way you want to go ahead and create the tolerance, it will be a semantic tolerance. It's kind of one of the nice things that I liked about, coming into 3D Experience, because you can just create it and not have to worry about anything. And it's also a little bit better set up than what you're seeing here in V5.